Plans for eradicating malignant fever, page number 243.
Plans for eradicating a malignant fever. In a letter to the Minister of Police. Sir, you will no doubt yourself see the results that the infection that was brought to 4 weeks ago might produce if its further spread be not arrested. Still I consider it to be a duty, as I have here and there had considerable experience in extensive epidemics, to offer my might as the altar of fatherland, in the form of some unpretending propositions. Taking into account the malignancy of this fever, if the epidemic be left to itself, it may in course of half a year at this season, and in the present condition of the town, sweep away about 250 individuals, a considerable human capital. Seeing that it is especially adults, the most useful class, that will first and most certainly be cut off by it. Should it as soon will happen, once penetrate into the damp, dirty houses of the poor, who are already often rendered liable speedily to catch the disease by unhealthy, miserable fare, by sorrow and depression, it is difficult, very difficult to extinguish it in these situations. In addition to this, there is a carelessness of the common people who incline to Turkish fatalism as the most convenient of all creeds respecting providence, and their want of reflection in only considering as dangerous what they can see with their eyes, such as a flood or a conflagration. Otherwise they cannot understand that this disease may harm the group of people. From these they will flee, but they are indifferent to a murderous pestilential vapor, because it does not fall within the recognizance of their coarse senses. So the ignorant person fearlessly approaches a changed electric battery and smilingly enters the pit filled with poisonous gases, though his predecessor may just have been brought out of it dead. Everyone thinks he possesses enough strength to resist the enemy of life, but vain are his expectations. The giant himself, if breached on by the breath of death, sinks down, and the wisest loses his consciousness. Resistance is not to be thought of. In flight alone is safety. The only means on which he can rely for checking epidemics in their birth is the separation of a diseased from the healthy. But if it be let to the public to preserve themselves from infection, everyone for himself, even with the help of published advice, experience teaches us that all such recommendations do little good, and often, in spite of the best intentions, cannot be carried out. But just as the police, when a conflagration breaks out in the town, does not leave it to the caprice of the possessor of the house to extinguish the fire in the way he thinks fit, but makes itself the necessary arrangements and erects the fire stations to be employed without delay, if necessary in opposition to the will, and even in spite of the resistance of the owner of the tenement, acting upon the just principle that the security of the community ought to be weighed infinitely more than the property of an individual. In like manner, I assert it ought not to be left to the individual's caprice to nurse his relative affected with infectious disorders in his house, since it is not to be presumed that he has either sufficient power or judgment or opportunity to prevent the spread of the disease, and no amount of wealth on his part, no damages expressible in figures, can compensate for the life of one, not to speak of many families, fathers, mothers, husbands, wives, children endangered by him.